This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining the session. Today, we will discuss about a project on implementation of project on MuleSoft actually. Okay, the project is transaction and loyalty management module. It can come under banking domain or it can come under retail domain because the same journey can be executed with the help of a credit card or a card which is given in the retail stores. Exactly, for that reason I'm just telling that it can be used as a banking project or a retail project. Exactly. Okay, fine. Now, but whenever I discuss, right, most of the time I'll try to discuss as it is a banking project only, but I'll tell you how you can use it as a retail project also. For example, like how you have to display that particular project or disclose that particular project in your interviews or in your resume, right? Sometimes you can put it as a retail project or banking project. It is up to you to decide upon that particular uh, thing. Exactly. Okay. Today we'll be discussing about what is that transaction and loyalty management module, MuleSoft project, how to do that. See, I have seen most of the people learn obviously the courses, MuleSoft related courses, and they'll not be able to crack the interviews, right? For that reason, if you have a clear cut understanding of a project and hands on that particular project, then only you'll be able to understand the total essence of MuleSoft, and then you'll be able to you'll be able to express your answers in an interview in a confident manner. For that reason, what we have done we have taken a project, and then we have clearly divided that into different modules. Exactly, and then how it will be executed in real time, right? The same way we are trying to do that step by step. Okay, before proceeding further, exactly, like I'll set the context for today, what is going to be discussed today, and then we'll go to the actual topics one by one. Okay, fine. Now, first of all, what is MuleSoft? We already know, right? MuleSoft is a integration tool which will help us to develop APIs and integrations. We know that, but I am very curious, and for that reason I just researched my projects as well as my colleagues projects, and then come to a conclusion. There are so many common integration project requirements. Exactly, there are so many requirements, but from them I have brought some common integration project requirements. For example, DB, most of the projects will be having database. DB means database. That way, I have gathered all the common integration project requirements and then put it into a slide. If you observe, these are the common integration requirements. Okay, we'll discuss that common integration project requirements before proceeding. This will set the context, or this will set the stage what to learn exactly. Okay, what to learn in a MuleSoft project. Now, see, this particular common integration project requirements, right? 80% of the time the same requirements come in the project. In any project, maybe you go to different types of project, 80% of the time you'll get the same kind of requirements most of the time. Very rarely the rest 20% will change, and at least if you are completely confident about that 80% requirements, right, then you'll be able to execute it very easily. For that reason, we are going to discuss what are all the common integration project requirements in, especially in MuleSoft projects. Exactly. Okay, this is one thing. The next thing is we'll discuss what is the project life cycle, completely project life cycle. We'll discuss from requirements gathering to till production deployment. What are the different steps involved in that particular project, and how a developer will be involved, where his journey will start and where his journey will end. Exactly. Okay, all these kind of discussions will be happening in this particular project life cycle discussion. Can you please go on mute? Then there is a brief introduction about transaction and loyalty management project. Okay, brief introduction about transaction and loyalty management project. Whatever the project we are going to discuss, right? That particular requirement will be discussing exactly, and then we'll try to see what are the topics covered in the entire course or entire journey of our project. Okay, we'll see the topics, what all the topics we'll be covering, and then a brief introduction about me also, like what are the qualifications of mine, and whether I'm eligible or capable to teach for you or not. All these things are like my experiences, what are the domains, different domains I worked, what are all the certifications I hold. All these will be discussed in the in Who Will Train Me session. I'll take hardly 1-2 minutes of time, and then I'll tell about myself exactly there. And also we'll discuss about the training approach we follow. What is the training approach to see? There are different approaches to follow, but we'll discuss in detail what is the approach should be followed to have the best results exactly. Okay, to have the best results. And we'll have a Q&A session. For any questions, don't wait for till the end exactly. Okay, if it is a related question, you can unmute yourself. Okay, you can ask the question. Please stop me whenever you have a doubt. Is the agenda clear for today? Are we on the same page? Okay, the silence I'll take it as granted. Okay, and then I'll move ahead. Okay, fine. Now I told common integration project requirements. See here, there are I have mentioned REST services, SOAP services, consume file FTP and SFTP services, consume database systems, consume messaging services, consuming different systems such as Salesforce, Jira, AWS S3, SAP, these kind of systems exactly. Okay, I have listed these are the common integration project requirements. What is this exactly? Whenever you get a project, for example, like an integration project, what happens most of the time, these are the things you'll be getting as a requirement. That's what I mean to say here. For example, like whenever it is an integration project of MuleSoft, what you'll try to do, you'll try to develop most of the time REST APIs and integrations, right? Okay, we'll develop REST APIs and integrations. What is API and what is integration? Any idea? What is API? What is integration? Can someone please answer? Okay, see, API is
Hello.
nothing but,
Hi.
yes, please. Yes.
Yes, integration uh, integrate with the multiple systems like Salesforce to SAP. Like
Okay, okay. What is API then?
API also same.
Then why are we using two different terminologies then exactly?
Yeah,
API
hi.
is nothing but the communication between two systems.
Integration also does the same, right? Okay, for example, there is a Salesforce, there is a database. I am establishing a integration in between, and obviously it is facilitating the data transfer between Salesforce and DB, right? Okay, fine. I'll tell you. See, what is an API? API is a piece of code which will help us to establish the communication between two different applications and facilitate the message flow. Okay, it will facilitate for maybe sending JSON data or XML data or text, whatever the data format is exactly. Okay, what we'll try to do, we'll try to develop the logic based on the end systems available. Okay, and then we will expose our API as an endpoint, actually as a URL. Okay, this URL will be consumed by the front end system, or the front end system or the consumer exactly, and then they will trigger that particular API endpoint, and then we'll receive the request, and then we'll process it and we'll send the response back. Okay, this is the API. Now integration, for example, like there is a Salesforce system and this is database. Now your duty is to pick the data from SFDC and put it into DB. Okay, put it into DB. what I am trying to do, and this has to be executed regularly in the night. For example, like every day at 8 p.m. this particular data should be loaded from SFDC system to DB. Now what I will try to do, I'll try to create a scheduler based integration, right? I'll create a scheduler based integration. Okay, and this will trigger the flow, and then I will take the records from SFDC and then I'll put them into DB. Okay, whether any other consumer is consuming your API and then triggering your API or not. You're using scheduler as the triggering point. Okay, scheduler as the triggering point to trigger your integration and then start the process. Exactly, this is the difference. For example, like API, what happens? This is your piece of code. Okay, API. Now the consumer or the front end will trigger the API based on the URL, actually URL, the headers, query parameters, URI parameters, and all. Exactly. Is that clear? Our integrations can be scheduler based or the system based. Exactly. Okay, maybe if you see a Salesforce connector, we have some source components, right? Even file or SFTP or FTP connectors, you can observe some source components, right? You can place that and then you can develop an integration. Exactly. Is that clear now? Or still any question? Please confirm.
Yeah, clear.
Sir.
Okay. See, now I told you, for example, like I have seen almost like 15 to 20 projects till now. Okay, my projects as well as my colleagues' projects and uh, some colleagues' friends' projects. All these after analyzing all the projects, what are the requirements? Are all the integration project requirements will fall under these categories exactly. What are those exactly? REST services, SOAP services, file FTP and SFTP, because all these three come into the same line exactly. Because of that reason, I'm trying to take them into the same category. Okay, and then database systems, and then messaging services, consuming messaging services like a JMS, Kafka, or VM exactly. Okay, and then I can include it as AnyPoint MQ also here. ActiveMQ, AnyPoint MQ, VM or Kafka. Okay, consuming messaging services, and then consume different systems such as Salesforce, Jira, AWS S3, SAP. There are hundreds of systems in the market. Okay, maybe you never know like which kind of systems you need to integrate. But most of the time, I observed like maybe Salesforce or AWS systems or Jira, these kind of systems. Okay, I am categorizing all those into one category called systems. Exactly. Okay, if you observe, we have REST, SOAP, file FTP, SFTP, DB, messaging services, and different systems such as Salesforce, Jira, or AWS S3 and SAP. Now, I just wanted to know, see, before proceeding to learn anything exactly, like we need to know, we should learn minimum and we should get the maximum results. That's the concept which I always follow. For that reason only, I am discussing this particular point. Now, there are hundreds of things you can learn in MuleSoft, but if you learn these aspects, okay, you will get the maximum results. First of all, you'll be getting first class or distinction, and from there you can go very easily from maybe 70 or 75% you receive the results, right? From 75 to 90 or 95 you can easily go ahead, and it will take some time, but I should learn minimum and I should get the maximum results. For that reason, I'm trying to condense all the topics, okay, which are widely used in the projects, and these are the topics. And in REST services also, if you observe, we have to create REST APIs and we have to consume other REST APIs also. Both should be widely used. Okay, both will be widely used. I'm telling REST services, create REST services and consume REST services. What does it mean? Whenever you are developing an API, we are mostly developing REST API. I clearly mentioned here, if you see, most of the time or or 90 or 95% of the time you will be developing REST API. That's the reason I told create REST API. And for example, like I wanted to consume other people's or other REST APIs, then I'll use consume operation. With the help of HTTP request, I'll try to consume the other API. For example, like from experience API to process API, how do you consume process API from experience API? With the help of HTTP requester. Now process API is a REST API only, right? Most of the times. Okay, and system API, from process API to system API, how do you consume? You'll consume with the help of HTTP request. That's what I mean to say. You will be involved in the process of creating REST APIs and consuming REST APIs 90% of the time. So this is very, very important and critical to learn. Okay. Now, SOAP services, I have written only how much? Consume. I didn't write the create, because SOAP services are followed for all old systems or legacy systems. Exactly. Okay, for that reason most of the people are going for REST services only. Very rare instances they are going for SOAP services. But in your projects there may be an instance where there is a provider who gives their services in the form of SOAP. At that point of time, in your REST API or REST project, what you have to do, you have to consume that SOAP service and then do the necessary operations on it. Exactly. For that reason, you should be involved or you should be aware of how to consume SOAP services. Most in my total experience till now, I haven't created SOAP services in MuleSoft project. Okay, that's the reason I haven't written create, only consume. This also there will be a less probability of some 30 to 50%. In my total experience, I got only I think 1 or 2 times to consume the SOAP service actually. Okay, this is also a rare requirement, but you should be aware of it. You should be aware of it. Now, the next requirement is consuming the files from FTP or file or SFTP connectors with the help of what connectors exactly? File, FTP, SFTP. Before proceeding to this file section, right, I just wanted to tell one more thing, like how to consume SOAP services exactly. We have a component or connector called web service consumer. Under that we have consume operation. What is that? Web service consumer, and in that consume operation should be used to consume SOAP services. How do you create REST service? Actually, we use HTTP listener, right, and RAML and all. Exactly. And how to consume REST services with the help of HTTP request operation. Under HTTP connector, we have HTTP request operation. So far clear, right? Any questions so far? Okay, fine. Next, the next requirement will be you have to consume some files placed in a server, and then you need to process them, and then you have to transfer to some other systems or applications. Exactly. Okay, this is the requirement. Now, how to consume a file from the server? Okay, the same server where your application is deployed, then you will use file connector. For example, like a file is placed in a FTP server, then you'll try to use FTP connector. For example, your file is placed on a SFTP system or a SFTP server, then you'll try to use SFTP connector. See here, the intention is to consume the file, okay, consume the CSV file or whatever the file format is exactly, and then do some operations on it, and then transfer the data to a different system or an application. Exactly. Okay, for that reason, even this is also a very common requirement in the integration projects. Okay, consume the file from maybe the server where your application is deployed, or from a FTP server or from a SFTP server. Okay, this is another requirement, common requirement in the integration projects. And then you do the process. Sometimes you need to create a file and then put a file in these servers also. Consume the file as well as they create the file and put the file here in the following locations, maybe file, FTP and SFTP. For these we have file connector, actually FTP connector, SFTP connector, and there are operations: read, write, move, delete. All these operations are available under the respective connectors. Exactly. But why I kept all of them into one category? Exactly, because if you learn one of these components, right, one of these connectors, right, it is very easy to understand the other connectors. Okay, and the motto of this particular connector is almost same. What is that? Take the file or put the file. Okay, that is where all these are put into the same category. Exactly. Now another common integration requirement is database. See, for example, like maybe you need to insert some data to a database, or to select some data and then do some processing on it and again update some other system. These are the common requirements most of the time. Okay, for this we have a database connector. Already we know, right, there is a database connector. With the help of that database connector, you can connect to different databases. Exactly, like a MySQL DB or Oracle DB or Microsoft SQL DB. And there are some other different DBs also. For different DBs, obviously there are different connectors, but mostly like these are the databases which is widely used across the industry. What are those? Oracle DB, MySQL DB, and Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, all these are used as a databases. For connecting those, we know, right, already, like there is a database connector. With the help of database connector, we have different operations like select, insert, delete, update, bulk insert, bulk update. All these are operations are available, and we can do the respective operation on the particular database. Okay. Okay, this is the another common requirement. And there is another common requirement. What is that? Consuming or consuming messaging services. Exactly. What is that messaging services? If you see ActiveMQ, AnyPoint MQ, or VMQs, Kafka, all these are all the messaging services. Exactly. Like, okay, see, whenever you wanted to go for a asynchronous processing, whenever you wanted to go for asynchronous processing and reliable processing means asynchronous means independent of the main process. Exactly, and it will execute independently. Okay, now what is the other word I have used? Reliability. For example, like, what is the reliability? You don't want to, for example, like, I have created a transaction and then I wanted that transaction message should not be lost. Exactly. Okay, in that context, what I'll try to do, immediately I'll put that message in a queue. Okay, and then I'll try to take the message from the queue and then try to process it. Exactly. Why? What happens whenever there is a system crash or something happened for the application? What happens is this message is already available in ActiveMQ or the messaging service which we are using, and we can get it once again. Okay, message will not be lost in that kind of instances. Exactly, we can go for messaging services also. There are two instances. One is asynchronous and the other one is reliability. In that context, for reliability, we can use database also. Okay, we can go for reliable database also, but there are different instances where you'll be using messaging service. What are the different messaging services you'll be using? Mostly, when I observed, ActiveMQ, sorry, ActiveMQ, RabbitMQ, AnyPointMQ, okay, VM, Kafka, all these are the most of the messaging services widely used in the industry. These two are which one? VM, ActiveMQ, and VM. These are MuleSoft provided. Exactly. Okay, ActiveMQ is again a different system, open source system, which is widely used. Exactly, and Kafka is also a queuing services which is widely used currently. Okay, fine. These are the different providers in the messaging service providers in the industry. Okay, they work on a queue and topic based. Exactly. Okay, the next thing is consuming different systems. Exactly. Okay, maybe Salesforce, Jira, AWS S3, SAP. Okay, based on the organization, they are trying to use different systems for running their business, right? Okay. Now, for example, they are using for CRM related all requirements. Most of the time, they are going for Salesforce because Salesforce is one of the most famous CRM systems, right? For that reason, we pick Salesforce as our project CRM system, and then we'll utilize Salesforce connector. Okay. There are almost like, for example, there are almost like 200 plus connectors, 200 or 300 plus connectors in MuleSoft, and nobody will be having knowledge on all 200 plus 300 plus connectors as part of their professional journey. But if you understand some connectors and some systems, right, it will be very easy for you whenever you get a new requirement. It will be very easy for you to understand the new connector or new system and then configure that and communicate with the corresponding system. Okay. For that reason, now if you learn all these connectors, okay, all these connectors like how to consume REST, how to create REST, how to consume SOAP, and consuming this file FTP and SFTP connectors exactly, and consuming the database services, consuming the messaging services, and then maybe here we will not be able to cover everything, at least Salesforce. Then what happens is you're at least aware of some 80 to 90% of the project requirements. My understanding, 80% of the project requirements will have all these, whatever we listed in this particular presentation. Okay, any questions so far? These are the common integration project requirements. Most of the time, the projects will have these requirements for sure. Okay, maybe a combination of these, or some will be there, some will not be there. But most of the time, all the projects will be covering these connectors and components exactly. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know here. Okay, I'll go with the next one. Okay, next we'll go to project lifecycle discussion. Okay, for example, we'll take ICICI Bank. Okay, see, ICICI Bank wanted to implement transaction and loyalty management related project, and they are checking for some integration service providers. Now, what happened? ICICI Bank will let know the service providers, like software service providers, saying that actually we have this particular requirement and we are going to use MuleSoft as the integration tool. Now, we wanted someone to execute this project. Okay, maybe TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Capgemini, Cognizant, all these providers will come into picture and they will bid for the ICICI banking project. And ICICI banking project has finally decided they wanted to go for maybe TCS, for example, TCS or Capgemini. Okay, I'll take it as TCS at this point of time. Now they have finalized the project is given for TCS. Now what happens is after all this process is completed, immediately the ICICI bank business team. Okay, there will be a business team, right? Related to our transaction and loyalty management. Okay, this particular business team and our TCS business team plus solution architect. Okay, he will be the person who knows technical. Okay, technical solution architect will, okay, will discuss, okay, will discuss with so many meetings actually. Okay, they'll be conducting so many meetings, they will be conducting workshops. For example, like these business users of ICICI bank, right, they will conduct workshops to our business team as well as the solution architect team. Now what happens, these people will try to understand the requirements of ICICI bank transaction and loyalty management project, and then they will try to document and they name it as business requirement document. Actually, what is that document? Business requirement document. We call it as BRD also. Okay, BRD or functional specification document. Functional specification document. Whose job is this? Our business team is there, right? TCS business team. The company's business team will create the business requirement document and functional specification document. What does this document consist of? What are all the different services or modules which are required for ICICI Bank? Like the transaction to transaction management, what are the services required for them? Or for loyalty management, what are the services required for them? And in this discussion, why the solution architect is available here? Because business team doesn't know the capability of MuleSoft and the other systems, right? Exactly. Okay, for that reason always there will be a solution architect or the technical architect who will tell this is possible and this is not possible. Okay, at that point of time itself. Exactly. For example, like if the solution architect is not involved here, the business team will tell, for example, like there is a scenario where they will not be able to implement with the help of MuleSoft, for example, and they have told we'll be implementing that. Then what happens? At the time of implementation there will be a miscommunication to the client and there will be a bad reputation. For that reason always a solution architect will be part of the business meetings also. Now the output has come like, okay, the business team of ICICI Bank has conducted so many workshops to the business team and solution architect, and then they have prepared business required document, and this business team of ICICI will review the entire document and then say yes, it's perfect, you can go ahead. Exactly. Now the solution architect will take the BRD and he will try to provide the high level design document. What is that? High level design. Is the developer came into picture till now? No. Developer is still not part of this particular ecosystem. Now HLD is ready. What is that HLD? High level design document is ready. Who prepared that? Our technical solution architect has prepared the high level design. Now what this particular solution architect will do? Solution architect will conduct the workshops. Okay, will conduct the workshops or the knowledge awareness sessions to the technical team. Okay, technical team. Now this is an integration project, right? Obviously the MuleSoft team. This MuleSoft team, this technical team will consist of a lead, developers based on the size of the project, yeah, exactly, and testers. Okay, now what you will do, this technical solution architect will conduct the sessions to the entire team, okay, or to the technical lead of our project. Exactly. He'll give the entire knowledge which is required for executing this particular project. Maybe I told only technical team. If it is a very big project, right, what happens? There will be different technical leads, okay, heading each and every requirement. But I'm telling in specific to our transaction loyalty management, a technical lead can handle this particular project. That is more than sufficient. That is the reason I'm telling one technical lead will handle some developers and then a tester maybe. Okay. Now the entire these he will give the BRD or a functional specification document and high level designs to the technical team, and then he will present all the requirements in front of us. Okay, he will put the all requirements in front of us. Now what lead will do, lead will try to develop LLD, okay, low level design. Low level design and sequence diagrams. Okay, and then delegate the work to developers. Delegate the work to developers. Now the developer work will start. Got it? Now see, as part of the discussions, whatever the queries, see, we'll go through what are those business requirement document, high level design document, and then we'll go for low level design also. We'll go through all the documents, and then we can ask the questions to our team lead or the solution architect. Okay. And if there are any questions, we can go back to the business team also. Okay. Then we'll start our work. For example, they have given, there are as part of this particular project, there are 15 APIs to be developed. For example, now 15 APIs will be delegated. That particular work will be what to say, delegated into different sprints. Exactly. For example, like this is a project of around 6 months. For example, now for every 2 weeks there is a sprint. What happens now? This 15 APIs development will be spread across all this particular 6 months duration. For each and every 2 weeks, we need to complete some part of the work, and then we have to present it to the client. Exactly, client or the solution architect, or the business team of ours, and then they will try to present it to the client. Now your part, for example, like there are 3 integration developers in this particular project, and you will be given a piece of one API or 2 APIs, whatever is the requirement. Okay, based on the knowledge and based on the technical level, they will give us the API. Now you will start developing the API, and then you will do your work. Okay, and then do your implement, design, develop, and implement that particular API, and then you'll send it for testing. Our team will consist of tester, right? The tester will test the application, and then you'll deploy into the respective environment. Okay, this is the way a project will start with the requirements. Okay, they will gather the requirements first, and then they will document them. After documenting them, technical solution architect will provide the high level design of that particular project, and then it will be communicated to the technical team. These are the requirements, this is the uh, these are the things you need to handle. Then technical team will discuss among themselves, and lead will develop the low level design, and then distribute the work to developers. Developers will execute or develop those APIs or the integrations as part of that particular project, and then testers will test that particular requirements. Then we'll deploy to the respective environments. Okay, is that clear? Any questions in this?
Hi Mahesh.
Hmm.
Everything need to be done POCs.
Come again?
Everything need to be done POCs, proof of concepts, all the for all the APIs.
No, no, no.
If it is a requirement, then only we
Most of the time, POCs will be before this discussion. Before
Okay, okay.
actually, before ICICI Bank deciding TCS as the partner. Okay, POCs will not be as part of most of the time before getting the project. After getting the project, sometimes if it is a completely new requirement where no team doesn't know anything, no any of the member doesn't know anything, then they will do a small POC for uh, getting the understanding of that particular new concept, and then they will try to give the knowledge to the other team members also, and then they'll start the implementation. Because these are the 2 instances most of the time you will be observing going for a POC before getting the project, or when it is a completely a new requirement. Is that clear?
Yeah, cleared, Mahesh. Thank you.
Yes, any other questions? Okay, okay, fine, then I'll move on to the next
How
section.
they will decide the time, Mahesh?
How they will
Decide time, how much time it will take.
see exactly here. Already the solution architect will have a complete overview of the entire project, right? Okay, now he knows like how many APIs have to be developed. Okay, he will try to categorize them into small easy, medium, and complex T of that particular 15 APIs exactly. For example, like 15 APIs and 5 integrations are required as part of this particular project. For example, now 15 APIs and 5 integrations, he will categorize them into easy, medium, and complex. Now he will put easy ones. Okay, for entirely developing, maybe approximately 7 to 8 working days. Okay, medium one 10 to 12 working days, and complex one 12 to 15 working days. Now he already categorized each API as, or each integration as easy, medium, and complex, and he already have the estimation of how many working days is required. He'll sum up everything and then he'll come to a conclusion, right? And then immediately what happens, he will try to keep a 10 to 15% of buffer time also. For example, I told you the total project will take 6 months for the actual implementation. Now what he will try to do, he will try to keep around 10 to 15%. For example, like 15% means 15 6 are how much exactly? Another 6 months, right? Almost another 1 month. Okay, another 1 month. Now he will code it as 7 months project. He will not code it as 6 months project, because already he knows he gave the time and then he kept some buffer time, and then he will code that 7 months time to the client. Is that clear? In this in this discussion itself, they will try to do it at express the client that this is a this many number of months project, or and we require this many number of developers, testers, and all. Exactly, it depends on the requirement of the client. Sometimes, right, client, irrespective of how many developers you have, I will give you this much of budget, it is up to you to decide to go for 2 developers or 3 developers or 10 developers, and this is the time I have. That way also they will try to do it. For example, like the 7 months project wanted to be executed in 3 months. Now the number of developers required for that particular project and the number of testers required for that project has to be increased, right? Otherwise you cannot execute that. Okay, it depends on the client's requirement also, and it will be very clearly known this is the delivery time required exactly at the start of the project itself. And sometimes, right, they may go a little bit overboard because of the, for example, like we need one system and client has to provide that, and they told they it will be provided within 1 week, but it took around 1 month to get uh, that particular system or server ready. Okay, now 20 or 25 days time is wasted, because without that you will not be able to do something. Okay, for that reason you have to extend your project, right? Okay, that also will happen. Is that clear?
Yeah, cleared.
Okay, okay. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, I'll go ahead with the next section. Okay, this is the, for any project, this is the way they will try to execute it exactly. Okay, any project most of the time. Okay, here and there will be little bit changes. Okay, but 80 to 90% of the time they will any project will be executed in this particular phase. Okay, now actually I just wanted to I told you the developer work will start, right? Okay, now the developer work started when, here, for example, you are given the development work, and you have been assigned to work on a API. How it will start? Now you'll go through the entire document. Okay, maybe high level design, low level design, and business requirement document. You will go through the entire document, and you will note down all the queries. Okay, you will note down all the queries, and you will discuss with your team lead, maybe solution architect, and the business team. Whenever you have queries, you will get them sorted out, all the questions are clarified. Now you're good to go ahead with the development. Now what you will try to do with the help of these documents, with the information you have, okay, after discussing with your team lead, solution architect, and the business team, what you'll try to do, try to start developing that particular project. But what is the first phase of API? What do you do exactly? And it is a REST API. I told 90% of the time we'll be developing REST APIs, right? What is the first phase of developing REST API? If you observe, we'll design API
Yes.
Develop
specification
the
in
RAM.
RAML. Design API. I didn't tell it as RAML. I told it as API specification. What is the term I used? API specification. Why? RAML is a language, modeling language, which is used to design API specification. Okay, RAML is not the actual word. See, it is similar to, we always go to a photocopy shop and they will ask for Xerox. Xerox is not a term should be used exactly. Xerox is a company name, but we should, the photocopy is the word we need to use, honestly speaking. But we always use give me five Xeroxes actually. Okay, the same way most of the industry, especially developers, they use word called is the RAML ready? No, actually is the API specification ready. The other word for this is API spec or API contract. Okay, these are the different terminologies to be used. Exactly, terminology is very very important in the technical industry, so you need to practice that. Whenever you speak, you have to practice that. Okay, that is the way you need to develop your words, the technical words in the technical world. Exactly, like for example, like you can ask like, is the API specification ready? Or the short form is API spec ready, or API contract. Some managers use the word called API contract. Okay, all mean the same. Most of the time developers, is the RAML ready? You try to design API spec, API contract, or API specification using RAML in design center. What is the first step? We'll go through the documents and then we'll design the API specification in design center. Now this is ready. Now what is the next step? First, we should get it validated from the business team, because whenever there is a discussion, okay, whenever there is a discussion, they might have decided some this is the request, this is the response, okay, and these are the query parameters, these are the URI parameters, all these have been discussed and then finalized. Now even business, if we don't communicate it to business team, okay, that if you don't get it validated, what happens is finally there may be a change and you developed everything and the entire thing will be waste of time. Exactly, for that reason always it is a good practice to, as soon as you design your API specification, get it validated from business team. Okay, how to get it validated, you know, right? You can publish it to API exchange and you can give the URL, you can ask them to test them using the mocking services, right? Okay, you can ask them, they can they can see like, okay, whenever there is a successful response, this is the response we are getting and these are the parameters need to be passed, and then now there is a error response, this is the way error response is coming. All those things they will check and they will tell, go ahead with the implementation, sign off for the next step. This will lead to start development. Okay, fine. Now your API specification is ready. Okay, now what you can do, you can import that API specification to your studio, Anypoint Studio, and then start development or implementation. In especially in MuleSoft, they will try to use the word called implementation. Okay, development or implementation are same only, but most of the time in integration projects, right, they use a term called implementation. Okay, now what you did, you have imported the API specification designed in design center, and then you published it to exchange, and from exchange you are trying to import it to your Anypoint Studio, and then you started developing that particular project. Okay, where do you do this? Anypoint Studio. Okay, now see, you have completed the development or the implementation, and then you can test it locally, right? Okay, this is the request, this is the response we need to pass, and whenever there are failures, error handling, how it should be, and all those scenarios have been taken into picture, and then you followed all the best practices. You implemented, maybe parallel processing is required or caching is required, all those best practices, and the property sectionalization, environment property files for each environment in a different manner, all those things have been taken care and then you have implemented. Okay, while doing implementation, for example, like you wanted to uh, consume other REST services also, or consume database, or consume Salesforce system. Okay, you need to interact with the different systems or different connectors, right? Now you need to, if it is your internal teams requirement, then you can easily get them. If it is an external team, for example, like a different team of the same project is there, okay, you need to interact with them and get the details. You should be very clearly aware of, for example, like if you wanted to connect, use Salesforce system, there will be a separate Salesforce team, right? You need to ask them, what is the connection I need to use? Okay, there are different basic authentication is there, OAuth process is there, and then for OAuth connection, what is the requirement? For basic authentication, what is the requirement? And then you need to write an email to them saying that I need all these details. Okay, okay, maybe basic auth means like the username, password, and the secret key. Okay, all these details are required. Okay, that way you should be aware. For example, if it is a database team, you need username, password, host port, and even the database name. All these details are required. That way you should be clearly aware, and you should be communicating to the different teams. Okay, I need all these details. Okay, whenever they are not responding, you should know how to escalate that and how to get the details exactly. Okay, that way you need to get all the details. Okay, start testing locally, debug it, check it whether it is as per the expected behavior or not. Once it is tested locally, it is complete, then you can go for a peer code review. Peer code review means what exactly? You can, you are a developer, there is another senior developer, he can check your code, the entire code, like what are the steps you followed, did you do it in an efficient manner or not. He will check the code and he will suggest some changes. Peer code review means what? He will check your code, the respective developer, the peer, the your colleague itself exactly. Whenever they develop the code, if you are also into the senior category or the above junior level category, now you will review their code before going to the actual architect. Okay, before going to the actual architect for the code review, you are reviewing each other's code exactly. That is known as peer code review. Okay, now see, if there are some suggestions and changes, right, at this level itself we will be doing it, and then again we'll make the changes and we'll again test it. Okay, now after doing that, everything is working fine. Now what you'll try to do, you'll try to go to the review of architect. There will be an architect for this project, right? Now architect will review your code from start to end. He'll ask you to give the presentation, what is the requirement, and how you have done the entire project exactly. Entire project means what? Our API. See, not the entire project. I'm telling about our API. In MuleSoft, we call our API is also a project exactly. Sometimes application, sometimes API, sometimes application, sometimes project. Right? That's the way they try to call it as. Don't think it as complete project. Now I'm talking about our API as a project exactly. Now he has completely reviewed, and obviously most of the time there will be some changes for sure. Okay, now what you'll try to do, you'll try to make those changes also. Okay, make those changes also, and then you'll try to develop M units, and then you'll try to develop M units. What is this develop M units exactly? M unit is similar to J units in Java. M units are useful to create unit tests for our application. Okay, it is developers responsibility to create M units. Okay, and we have recording option as well as the manual option. We can use one of the available options and then try to create M units. It is our responsibility. Okay, now we have created M units also. Now what is the next step exactly? All these things are done in local, right? Okay, now what happens is, most of the time the current market is following CI/CD pipeline for the deployments. Okay, CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD pipeline, for example, like they decided like they have almost like 6 environments: dev, SIT, UAT. Okay, what are the different environments? Dev, SIT, UAT, pre-prod, prod, DR.
Keyboard.
Okay, pre-prod, prod, DR. Ideally, these are the 6 environments which are available in the industry. Okay, now what is the first environment exactly? Dev environment. Dev means development environment. What I'll try to do, I will try to deploy my application or API in the dev environment, and then I will test it. Okay, if it is working as per the expected behavior, what I'll try to do, I'll try to promote that particular code to SIT environment. Okay, SIT. What is SIT environment? System integration testing. Now, what happens is the QA team will come into picture. Okay, the QA team means quality assurance team or testing team will come into picture, and they will try to test the entire API. Now, whose responsibility is to give the knowledge required to test this API? It is the developer's responsibility to give the knowledge to the tester. Okay, this is the expected response. This is the expected request. Okay, these are the different error responses, and this is the functionality of this particular API. This entire knowledge transfer should be given to the tester before you give it for testing. Now the tester will again ask you so many questions, and she or he will understand the entire API, and then they will start testing your API. Now what happens exactly? See that what is the duty of a tester? To raise the bugs. She or he will test it, and then immediately they will try to raise the bugs, and they will give it in Excel sheet or a Jira tool. Okay, now for example, like your API has been developed and there are 10 bugs raised by the tester, and she reported to you, okay, these are the 10 bugs, can you please observe and then give me the solutions for this or work on it. Exactly. Now you observed all the 10 bugs there. Okay, 10 bugs, for example, like 1 2 3 bugs are the bugs which she raised maybe wrongly because of not knowing. She raised them wrongly. Now you can explain her, telling that this is the way, this is not the way you need to test, this is the way you need to test it, and you can mark them as, tell her or him to mark it as test completed. Now these 3 bugs are, you're going to do nothing there. Exactly, because she does it in a wrong manner. That is the reason those 3 bugs were raised, and you have given the proper explanation in the comment section, and he or she will be closing that particular 3 bugs. Now there are another 7 bugs which come into picture. You didn't realize that this is the way it will handle, and you haven't uh, configured them or developed our API in such a way these particular scenarios are covered. Now what you have to do, you have to go back to your implementation locally, and then all these 7 bugs related things will be solved. Maybe 7 initially, you can do like 2 3 bugs related one, and then you can ask her to test it, and again the rest 4 that way also. But it is up to our flexibility. Okay, now for example, like what I'll try to do, I'll try to take all the 7 bugs, and then what I did is 7 bugs work has been completed. I have fixed all the bugs, I tested locally, and then I moved the code to again to development environment, and then I promoted it to SIT. Now I'll ask the tester to go again and retest it. He or she will retest the total again, all the scenarios, the 7 scenarios in that particular. She raised 10 bugs, right? Out of 10, already 3 completed. These 7 they have to test it. They will test it, and then the testing team will give the sign off. Okay, sign off. What is that? They say that we have tested thoroughly and everything seems fine at this point of time. You can go ahead with the next steps. Okay. Now the testing team has done the job. Now again the developer will come into picture. And how do you receive the sign off? How to receive this? You need to go by email communication always. Actually, whenever you wanted to go for an official communication, right, don't go for Teams or Slack or some other what to say, medium chats. Exactly, if the testing team tells you like in Teams, like, hi Mahesh, your application is good, you can go ahead with the further steps. That's not the way it has to be handled. You have to write an email, please provide the sign off, and these are the scenarios you have covered. That way, if you write an email, or they can write an email, I have thoroughly tested this particular application, you can go ahead and treat this as a sign off, and you can go ahead with the further steps. Exactly, that way you need to receive an email from the testing team as part of your testing process. then only it will be considered official. Okay, most of the time people, uh, why these emails are all required exactly, I'll tell you. Whenever you go for production environment, right, whenever you try to deploy the code to production, at that point of time they will ask for all these things. Where is the SIT sign off, where is the UAT sign off, okay, where is the performance testing sign off, okay, please attach all those emails. Okay, that way if they ask you, you don't have the answer, and they will not allow you to deploy the code in the production. Okay, for that reason you need to have everything in email communication properly. Okay, now till now our team is testing it. Okay, till now our testing team has done it, and then this, it seems good. Now what is the next step? Next step is to promote the code to UAT environment. What is that UAT environment? What is that UAT environment? User acceptance testing
Okay.
environment. Okay, who will do this? Who are the users of
Inside
this particular project?
inside the organization, other team members.
No, here, this one. These are the users, right?
Yeah.
See, who are the users exactly? Honestly speaking, the ICICI Bank business team is the users, and even our business team also will be part of this particular UAT. Okay, I'm specifically talking about this particular project exactly. Okay, now business team of ours and business team of ICICI will test our application in the UAT environment. Okay, they will see, okay, this is the input and this is the expected output and expected responses. They will check all the scenarios, and then they will try to give the sign off exactly. Okay, if there are any bugs raised at this point, mostly it will be very very less. Okay, if they raised some scenarios, okay, at that point of time again you need to go back, test it again, make the necessary changes, test locally, and units will be broken, and you have to rewrite those units. Okay, and then again go through the testing process with the help of QA team. They will raise bugs and solve them or fix them, and then automatically they will give the sign off, and again you'll come back to the UAT. Now UAT team said everything is proper and they have provided us the sign off. Now is the work completed? No, still there is pending. What is that exactly? You have performance testing. What is that performance testing? Till now, if you observe, for example, like I told you, our application transaction and loyalty management. Now ICICI Bank will have a huge volume of transactions, right? For example, like how many ICICI Bank customers will have credit cards? For example, like think ICICI Bank has around 10 lakh credit card customers. Okay, 10 lakh credit card customers. Now this transaction management, whenever a credit card transaction is initiated and our API is consumed, okay, our API is consumed, okay, now what happens? It will be affecting our API, right? For example, like every day 2 lakh customers are using the credit cards. Out of 10 lakh customers, every day 2 lakh customers are using. Now what is the volume you are getting? 2 lakh transactions for your API. Okay, now you should know whether your API will is capable of handling that kind of traffic or not, right? Okay, that particular testing will happen in the pre-prod environment. That is known as performance testing. For example, I have developed API, and then see, till UAT, SIT and UAT, I'll test with the help of Postman. Okay, what I'll try to do, I'll try to trigger it. Okay, and then one transaction, and I'll see whether I'm getting the proper response or not. But in the live environment, what happens? The 2 lakh customers are using the application, and what happens? The server will not be able to handle the traffic, and it will fail exactly. Okay, it may shut down. Okay, for example, like if you observe sometimes, right, Flipkart or Amazon releases a new phone, and it will not be able to handle the traffic with the available resources, and the system or the server will be shut down, and the application will be shut down, and it will be down for some time. Okay, sometimes you observe like even WhatsApp is down and it is not able to handle the traffic also. Okay, that is where this performance testing into come into picture. Okay, now the performance testing people, what they will try to do, they will try to replicate the production related environment. For example, like the business team told every day we may receive around 2 lakh transactions. They will try to replicate, okay, 2 lakh transactions per day. Okay, what may be the per hour traffic? They will try to do that calculation, and then they will replicate that kind of, okay, for example, like per hour 10,000 transactions. Okay, now 10,000 transactions per hour or 20,000 transactions per 2 hours, they will try to replicate, create, and then test the API. Now, for example, like 10,000 requests has to be triggered, right? They will use some performance testing tools like, okay, a JMeter or load runner. These kind of performance testing tools will be there. They will try to use those tools and then create the 1 lakh or 2 lakh, 10,000 or 20,000 requests per 1 hour or 2 hours respectively. Okay, now what happens, they will check the entire thing. Now API, you already know, right? One week or one worker, two workers, all these kind of 1.1 week or 0.2 week or, at this point of time he gradually increases the traffic and he will test exactly. Okay, and then he will set, okay, I need 4 workers, I need zero point 0.2 week or, all those parameters will be checked at this point of time. And the total response time of this particular API is, it should be less than 500 milliseconds. All these parameters will be tested in the performance testing time. Now this person will, for example, there is a scenario, your total architect team has decided it should not exceed 500 milliseconds. The response time should not exceed 500 milliseconds. And he tested everything and everything seems proper. It is able to handle the traffic also with the maybe 0.2 week or and 4 workers. Exactly. He decided that. But your response time is always like 550 milliseconds or more than 550. Now you need to rework on it, or you need to provide the justification why it is going overboard 500 milliseconds. Exactly. Maybe there is a heavy process involved in that particular process, and in those uh, uh, different instances or exclusive instances, they may give you the approval. Okay, but still if you have the provision to use parallel processing or caching or these kind of things, you can use and reduce that processing time, and it should fall under 500 milliseconds. Okay, all these things will be tested in the performance testing time, and then it will be promoted to production. Is that clear? Any questions so far?
Response time and all they'll be mentioning in the requirements BRDs only.
No, actually, see, it will be most of the time the architecture, the enterprise architect will be there, right? See, not your project architect, the enterprise architect. It will be not only your integration project. There are different integration projects which will be happening in the enterprise, right? In the organization, right? For the total enterprise, also they will be having an architect who is known as enterprise architect. The enterprise architect will decide what should be the maximum response time. It should not exceed this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, fine. Now, the pre-prod testing, that is performance testing, is done by who will do this? Again, the performance tester will do, who is part of the QA team. Exactly. The performance tester again will provide the sign off. He will provide the sign off. Once he provides the sign off, now what happens? We are good to go ahead with the production environment. Okay. Now production environment deployment, till now, for example, like from dev to sid to uat to pre-prod, and giving the knowledge to testers and getting the sign offs, all these responsibility will be held by who? The developer itself. And you can take the help of your team lead in these journeys. Exactly. Okay, just give me a moment. Yeah, sorry for that. Now, there will be a separate process to each and any organization will have their different set of process before going to production. Okay, there will be maybe there will be a discussion like when to go for it. Okay, there will be a separate team for deployment. Exactly. Okay, but all those necessary things should be provided by you, and your team lead will be helping you. What are those? UAT sign off, SIT sign off, this PT sign off, all these emails, and the code property files configuration for production. All those details have to be kept clearly ready, and then you need to present. There will be a separate board who approves the code for production. Exactly, you need to present them this is the use case and this is the requirement, and we are going to take this to production. And they will ask you like whether there are any dependencies, for example like DB connector related or SFDC or any other APIs. All those things will be discussed in that particular meeting. Okay, and then they will decide one date, and it will happen. The production deployment will happen most of the time in non-business hours. For example, like I told you, this is ICICI Bank. What is the non-business hours? Most of the time, it will be in the midnights. Maybe different organizations will have different times exactly. Maybe 10 to 12 or 10 to 11, whatever is the time given. Now, as this is a financial related project, exactly financial domain related project, for that reason I mentioned a word called disaster recovery. Okay, whenever you are trying to uh, deploy the application to production, right, the same time you will be deploying your application to DR environment also. That is called as disaster recovery. Why disaster recovery? For example, RBI has kept a mandatory requirement for all the banks to go for a disaster recovery environment. Why is that exactly? For example, like ICICI Bank is a server in Mumbai. Okay, production environment servers in Mumbai, and Mumbai is affected with a cyclone, and the total infrastructure is gone. For example, like no electricity, no internet, nothing, and the data center will be down. Right, the data center will be down. Now, for example, like it is taking 3 days to recover from that particular situation. Now what happens? 3 days the users will not be able to use any of the banking services, right? It is a huge loss to the bank, as well as huge inconvenience to the customers across the world, because across the world ICICI Bank has customers, right? Okay, now nobody will be able to use the services. For that reason, what happens is strategically they will try to keep another data center where your all application servers are available, okay, in a different region. For example, like they have another data center in Hyderabad. Now it is less likely whenever there is a huge cyclone and Mumbai is affected, there is a less likely to have happen the same in Hyderabad, right? Okay, that way now Hyderabad data center is ready with all the data. And what happens? Disaster recovery, whenever there is a disaster recovery in Mumbai, immediately they will switch to Hyderabad region within 1 or 2 hours. And now this particular environment is ready to handle the transactions, and the only 1 or 2 hours inconvenience is there, and rest of the time no business loss will be there. Now for example, like within those 3 days they have recovered from the total situation, and now internet is ready, electricity is ready in Mumbai. Now immediately what happens? From disaster recovery environment to they'll switch back to the production environment. Okay, this way they will try to, ideally they will have dev, SIT, UAT, prod and DR environments. But based on the organization, it is not likely like everyone will have the same environments. Sometimes it is costly, right? Because they wanted to maintain different environments, means again different databases, different Salesforce systems, different messaging services, servers. All this, it is very very difficult and very costly affair. That is the reason what they will try to do. They will go for sometimes some organization dev, SIT, UAT, prod. Some teams only have dev, UAT, prod, actually no DR. Okay, that way there will be a combination. And don't be surprised, right, whenever you go for a organization, just check what are the different environments available. For sure prod will be available, for sure dev will be available. In between maybe SID, UAT they will be using. But how do they go for all these kind of testing? They will use the same environment for different testings, exactly. Okay, that way. Any questions so far? Okay, Okay, what we will try to do, we'll try to take a 10 minutes break. Okay, it's 11:20 right now. We'll take a 10 minutes break. We'll connect back at 11:30 and then we'll proceed with the further session. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Sure, man.
Okay, we'll take a 10 minutes break and then we'll see what is this particular transaction and loyalty management, how it looks like, what is the high level diagram of this exactly, what we will try to do, and then how we will implement API-led architecture landscape for our APIs. This is our MuleSoft layer exactly. Okay, all those discussions and what are the topics will be covered. Okay, we'll see each and everything. These are the further slides exactly. What all the topics covered as part of the this particular training. Okay, all these connectors, components, we'll try to see in detail. Okay, we'll take a 10 minutes break and we'll connect at exactly 11:30. It's 11:20 now. Yeah.
Sure.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. Any questions before starting? Okay. So someone asked in the chat actually, like whether the SMTP connector or the email connector comes into the messaging services. No, it's completely different exactly. Okay. Uh, okay, the SMS or the email trigger is entirely different. Okay, they will not fund. I didn't discuss that particular part as part of our integration requirements. Mostly like email trigger, what happens is in an enterprise they will try to create one system API and they will try to ask us to use that system API, and again it will be a REST service. Most of the time what I observe. Okay, if you are given the chance to develop the system API of the email, then you will be using the SMTP connector, email connector, and then you'll try to what to say, develop the system API. Okay, is that clear, Varprasad? Okay, now what I'll try to do. And I'm audible, right, to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. Now we'll discuss the transaction loyalty management project. Okay, see, this is two. If you see, there are two categories in this particular section. What are that? Transaction is one category and loyalty is one category. What is this project about? Okay, now I'll take the picture of banking and then I'll try to explain. For example, uh, there are there is a bank, ICICI Bank, and there are customers for that particular bank exactly, and they issued credit cards. Now, I told you right, out of there are almost like 10 lakh credit card customers, right? Okay, these 10 lakh credit card customers will start using that particular credit card. Now, what happens? Maybe that credit card can be used, okay, can be used in different instances. For example, like they may go for a shopping and then they use that POS. Okay, POS means that point of sale system. They'll swipe the card and then they'll be using that particular card. Now, or they may do a online transaction. Okay, they go to Amazon and they purchase something. While purchasing there, they may use the ICICI credit card. Okay, there are different ways of using the credit card, right? They will try to use it. Now, that particular section, for example, like from the front end, okay, the customer is trying to use the credit card from different sources. See here, he started and making the transaction in the front end section. Now, what happens? As an integration layer or as a MuleSoft integration layer, we have developed a transaction API for handling this particular situation. Okay, what happens now? As soon as the customer raises a transaction, credit card transaction, this API will be triggered. What API? Our MuleSoft transaction API will be triggered, and then it will try to fetch all the details from that particular transaction and update the backend Salesforce system. Backend Salesforce system. What is the source here? The source is front end and target system is Salesforce. What is the tool being used for implementing the integration layer? MuleSoft, actually. This is the middleware layer, exactly. Okay. Now, this is the this is that journey of a particular transaction of a particular customer. Now, as soon as any customer raises a credit card transaction, it will invoke the transaction API and then it will be updated to Salesforce system. This is the high level, but this particular transaction system, okay, this particular transaction API again will follow the API-led architecture, and then we'll try to develop more number of APIs like experience API, process API, system API. I'll come into that picture in a while. Please wait for that. But still high level, what is that? There is a Salesforce system. On top of that, we have developed a transaction system API, and then that transaction system API is exposed to the front-end systems. Okay, from a POS system it will come, or from a web application it can come, from a mobile application it can come. Whatever is the source system, we are trying to expose our API for their consumption. Exactly. Is that clear? Transaction system, transaction journey is clear. Now, see, if the transaction journey is clear, what happens generally whenever we use credit cards, right? What happens? We'll get some points, if you remember, right? We most of the time, whenever we spend some amount on a credit card, we'll try to get some points, and once that points are accumulated, for example, like you have used a credit card for 1 year and you have spent almost like 10 lakhs amount. Okay. For that 10 lakhs amount, obviously the points for each and every time you do a transaction, for some points will be accumulated and accumulated. And for those 10 lakhs amount, what you have spent for the whole year, you received maybe around 10,000 points. Now, these 10,000 points can be utilized for what? You can purchase something, right? Maybe you can do shopping on Amazon or Flipkart, or you can use those points only to purchase something on ICICI e-commerce portal. There is a e-commerce portal on ICICI banking also. There also you can shop with the help of these points. Okay, that way you'll try to use that points exactly. But here, for getting those points and for redeeming those points or claiming that points and all, exactly, you have, again, there are different APIs and different integrations which are part of our total project. Exactly. Okay. Now, the first journey, the transaction creation journey, is over. Okay. It is as soon as a customer has raised his transaction, it happened, and then Salesforce system has those details. Okay, what is a Salesforce system? I told, right? Salesforce system is a CRM system which is used for which is used for what exactly? Like CRM related transactions, customer relationship management related transactions, and we are using Salesforce as the target system at this point of time for storing all the transactions. Maybe sometimes in a different project it can be a database also. Okay, but here we are trying to utilize the different connectors and systems. Exactly, for that reason we are using Salesforce system. Now, as soon as the Salesforce system has some points, what we are trying to do now, we wanted to create the points for that particular transaction, right? Excuse me, 1 second. Now, a transaction is there and we need to get some points. Now, what happened is, banks also will not do the entire task by themselves. They'll outsource some specialized services from different third-party services. Exactly. For this loyalty points creation, right? Okay, loyalty points creation. There are certain third parties, and they are trying to use that one of the third parties to calculate the loyalty points and store them in that particular system. For example, here if you see, okay, now as soon as the Salesforce system has stored those points, right? Now there is a scheduler based integration. Okay, scheduler based integration. I should not use the API word here exactly. I should use the integration. Okay, what happens is every day in the midnight, it will pick all the transactions stored in the Salesforce system, okay, of different customers, and then it will use the third party loyalty point API. Okay, they have provided a REST API. We'll consume that, and then we'll try to calculate the points for each customer and then insert that into the loyalty point system, third party system. The same time, what we are trying to do, we are trying to update our database also, our ICICI database, okay, with the same points, created by third party loyalty API, third party loyalty point. For example, now one customer has spent 10,000, and for that 10,000 we are getting some 100 points. Now who will decide that 100 points? The third party. Okay, 10,000, and what is the tier of that customer? He is a gold member or a silver member or a platinum member. Based on that also points will be available. All those will be created, and then this third party loyalty system will save the details of that particular customer. Okay, for this customer ID, and these are the loyalty points, and that way it will store the entire details, and the same details will be stored in a database. Just remember, I'm telling that this database is updated with the same details. Exactly why, I'll tell you in a wait for that particular thing. Now points are created, it's good. For example, like I told you, for a year I used the credit card and I got some 10,000 points. As soon as the minimum points are available, I can claim that particular points, right? Okay, now ICICI has made a provision in such a way. For example, like using these points in a different manner, you can buy some products on their e-commerce portal of ICICI, or you can claim some coupons, maybe Amazon coupon or a Flipkart coupon, or some other Tata Click coupon. That way also you can purchase using those points. Exactly. Okay, now how to claim that? For that claim coupon also we have created one API. Okay, we have created one API, and we can claim it. For example, like that, if there are minimum number of points, for example, like now 10,000 points are available, I wanted to claim Amazon voucher for 1,000 rupees. For 1,000 rupees I need 4,000 points. Exactly, for example. Okay, now you claim the coupon, click on the claim the coupon. Now this claim coupon API will be triggered, and it will check for the loyalty system whether that particular customer has the respective points or not. Now already I told you he has 10,000 points. Now if he has 10,000 points, 4,000 points will be deducted, and that particular coupon will be available here. Okay, a coupon ID will be generated, and that will be passed to coupon. Now Amazon coupon is available with the customer. Now the next journey is, he will go to Amazon, right? Now Amazon coupon, 1,000 rupees coupon is available with the customer. Okay, and out of 10,000 points, 4,000 points has been deducted. The customer will have only 6,000 points at this point of time if you check the system. Now he wanted to claim that coupon. He will go to Amazon website and he wanted to purchase some product. Okay, purchase some product, and that particular product's price is 2,000 rupees. Now Amazon has provision in such a way that 1,000 rupees coupon can be applied, and the rest 1,000 can be paid with the help of a debit card or a credit card. That way he will be doing it. Now what happens, Amazon will trigger our redeem coupon ICICI Bank's API. Okay, redeem coupon API, and then that 1,000 rupees coupon can be used. For example, like that particular product, he purchased it and he ordered in Amazon. Immediately that 1,000 rupees coupon has been claimed. That way it will be updating the system. Now the same details will be updated in the database also. Okay, the 1,000 rupees coupon has been utilized in the Amazon website because he will be entering that coupon ID there, right? That coupon ID details will be coming into our loyalty system, and then automatically will update the loyalty third party system, as well as our database also will be reflected with the changes. Okay, now for example, he received the product and he wanted to return that particular product. Okay, for that reason, what we can do, we can revoke the coupon also. Okay, we can revoke the coupon also. Now he will initiate, he'll go to Amazon website and he'll keep it for return. Exactly, he raised a request for return. Now what happens, the 1,000 rupees, the 2,000 product, 1,000 rupees he paid in debit card and 1,000 rupees in coupon, right? Now that coupon again should be revoked, and then that should be available with the customer for using it in a later point of time. Okay, that particular journey will be handled by revoke coupon. Okay, revoke coupon will be handling that particular journey. Exactly. Okay, now at this point of time also, again you are updating the third party loyalty system. Okay, now every time we are trying to update the database. Why we are trying to update the database? Because, see, for example, like there are 10 lakh credit card customers. All those details have been stored into database. And then this 10 lakhs customers journey, like how they are spending, on what products or what services they're spending, all those details are available in our database. Now they will aggregate and generate reports based out of this exactly. Okay. ICICI, again, there will be a separate team who will take care of this particular reporting and all using these details. Okay. What they will try to do, they will try to customer segment the customers. For example, like there are a few customers who are using a credit card extensively. Now what they will try to do, they will try to give them a personal loan offer, or they will try to give them a to update their credit limit. All these offers will be generated based on the reports generated on this particular database. Exactly, for analyzing the transactions of customers, we are trying to put them into a database, and from here there will be a separate team who has maybe a Tableau or Power BI reporting tool. That way they will be using uh, for reporting purpose. Exactly. Okay, and they try to create some offers for the customers. If they don't have this particular data, they will be losing that extra business, right? For that reason, we are trying to put all the records into the database. Okay, now there is again another scheduler based API. We are trying to update whatever is happening in the third party loyalty system again into the Salesforce system also, the same. Okay, we are updating the Salesforce system back. Again, this is a scheduler based integration. Exactly. Any questions on the total project high level picture?
Yeah, excuse. How Amazon would be linked here? Like it's out
Yes,
of
yes,
a
yeah, actually,
banking
yeah, yeah.
application.
No, see, whenever I am trying to put in my ICICI Bank website itself, for example, like Amazon website, sorry, ICICI Bank website, to claim the coupon, there already in the front end, there is a Amazon voucher or Flipkart voucher, right? Okay, they will click on that and they will select that. But before doing that process, ICICI Bank has tied up with Amazon, okay, and built this journey.
Okay.
Only the agreed customers or agreed partners will be available. See, for example, like they haven't tied up with Flipkart. Now, this claim coupon API will not proceed for Flipkart, right? Only Amazon will be available. Exactly. Because
Mhm.
ICICI Bank and Amazon has partnered to facilitate the customers with Amazon coupon, not the Flipkart coupon.
Okay.
Okay, and our API is exposed to Amazon here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, in the Amazon services, they will use our API whenever the customer initiates the transactions with the coupon.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, this particular API will be exposed to the Amazon, and Amazon is consuming this, and we are updating the corresponding systems in the backend.
Okay. That means that has been included in the contract itself as such.
Yeah, obviously, right? See, now
Hmm.
ICICI and Amazon has to come into an agreement. Okay,
Mm.
otherwise it is
Mm.
not possible, right?
Oh, yeah, correct. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, okay, yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, Mahesh.
Yes, yes.
Mahesh, like just to understand, in this particular table, like which all the connectors we can use? Can you just like
We'll
let
come
me
into
know?
that picture. We'll come into that
Okay,
picture in a while.
okay, okay, sure.
See, that we'll try to discuss. Anywhere on the broad level of this particular project explanation, if you have any questions, you can ask me. What are the connectors we are going to use? What are the components? What are the policies? All those I'll discuss in detail.
Okay, okay, thank
Okay. Okay. If no questions, then I'll proceed to the next section. Okay. Now, see here. API landscape. I told transaction API. But for implementing the transaction API, okay, the transaction can be initiated from maybe web application or mobile application or some POS, point of sale system, right? Now, I wanted to follow API-led architecture and divide this transaction API into experience API, process API, and system API. See, we know API-led architecture. What is that API-led architecture? Whenever there is an experience system, we'll try to expose our experience API to that particular experience system. What is the experience system here? Maybe a web application or mobile application or POS. But in this context, what I decided, I will develop two APIs, one for mobile application, one for web application. If you observe here, experience API, mobile transaction experience API. Okay. For this web application, I've developed a web transaction experience API. And then process API is same for both, because I have two different experience system. This is one experience system and this is another experience system, and the requirements are little different for each other. That is the reason I have developed two experience APIs here. Okay, and then the process is one process API for the same, and for connecting to the systems, I have developed one system. See, API-led connectivity or API-led architecture has been followed in this particular design pattern, and then we delegated, or we have decomposed it into three APIs, not three, four. One for mobile, one for web application, and one for process API, and one for system API. Is that clear? Why two experience APIs? Can I go for one experience API? Any answer from one of you? See, I can develop only one experience API and give it to mobile application as well as web application, right? Okay, in that
Request is
instance,
getting for two different systems, right?
then what happens? Anyway, experience system, mobile application also will trigger it, and experience also will trigger, web application also will trigger it. There is no problem, right? They will trigger API only.
Users are different, right?
What happens if users are different? Nothing, right? See, there is an API. This API can be used by multiple users, right? User 1, user 2, user 3. What is that? There is no problem, right? But why I'm trying to take it for two different experience APIs exactly? See, for example, if generally if you observe mobile application, the features of the data required is less. For example, like there are 5 fields to send in the response. Okay, is the response. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5, and corresponding values are there. Value 1, value 2, value 3, value 4, value 5. Okay, now I'm telling just one instance. What is that? For web application, these five fields are required and more data to be displayed because it is a large screen. Exactly. But for mobile API, I need only 3 fields. There is a restriction. The data is less, right? Who will do that? Experience API will do that. It will reduce the data. Process API will send 5 fields, but mobile experience API will reduce that. Only it will send 3 fields to this and 5 fields to this. This is one instance where you will be going for different experience API. Another reason, for example, for mobile application, I need OAuth 2.0 as the policy. Okay. And for web application, I want only client ID enforcement. I don't want OAuth 2.0. There is a different security policies required for mobile application and different security policies required for web applications. Then also you can go for two different experience APIs. Is that clear? If everything is same, data also they need same, policies also same, then I can go for one experience API itself. Any confusion here?
No, clear.
Okay, fine. This is the total project we are going to discuss. Okay, as part of this, we will be having different aspects. Exactly, I'll tell what all the topics covered as part of the project training. Okay, first of all, we'll see requirements gathering, and then we'll see the project lifecycle discussion, and we'll see what is agile methodology, how it will be followed for implementing our transaction and loyalty management project. And as part of this, obviously there should be a project management tool, right? For that reason, we'll be using Jira setup and management. How to what are the things as a developer we should be aware of? See, generally what happens is whenever we join a course or join a particular course, right? Obviously you will be focusing and learning only that particular MuleSoft course. Okay, now here what happens is, as a developer, if you know only MuleSoft, you'll not be able to survive in the industry, right? Obviously, you should be aware of what is Jira, what is Agile methodology, what are the steps in the project life cycle, and how to do the documentation. Okay, which tool do you use, how to use that, and how to use a code repository. Okay, how to use a pipeline setup exactly. All these should be aware. For that reason, apart from your MuleSoft project training, all these will be part of our project training. Okay, apart from our MuleSoft project, all these will be a part of our ecosystem, and we'll try to use all these components as a project. Now, Jira as a project management tool, we'll try to see what happens, like how user stories will be created, how it will be assigned, and how you need to change from one status to different statuses and all. We'll try to see that exactly. And then for documentation management, we'll try to use Confluence exactly. Okay, we'll try to see how Confluence should be set up and how we'll try to use that. And whatever the code you develop, obviously you'll try to pull and push the code to Bitbucket or GitHub, right? We'll see maybe GitHub or Bitbucket, whatever is the tool convenient. Most probably we'll try to use GitHub. Okay, see, there are different tools for code repository. Okay, what are those? GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, all this. GitHub and Bitbucket are the most widely used. Exactly, we'll try to use that. Okay, now to access GitHub, right, we have source tree and we have git bash. We'll try to see how to use git bash as well as the source tree to manage our code exactly from local to code repository and code repository to local. Exactly, that is one thing we'll be discussing. And okay, see, Jenkins is so popular for setting up the CI/CD pipeline. Exactly, we'll try to use Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. We'll try to set up one pipeline, and then we'll try to use the pipeline for our deployment also. Okay, we'll how to deploy most of the real-time projects, right? They will have DevOps pipeline, and then they will try to deploy the projects through pipeline. Okay, directly as we learned in our MuleSoft courses, right? We will not deploy the project directly, go to Cloud Hub and deploy the project. No, you try to push the code to GitHub, and then from there you will be trying to start the pipeline pipeline setup, and then trigger the deployment of the project. Then it will undergo certain steps in that particular pipeline, and then it will be deployed to maybe Cloud Hub or on-premises or hybrid mode. Exactly. See, these are the contents we'll be covering as part of the project. It is some more also. Okay, this is the same slide. Okay, see, we'll create API specifications using YAML, okay, with best practices, and then develop APIs and integrations with best practices, okay, in Anypoint Studio. We'll do the local testing. We'll develop a unit tests also for errors as well as the success scenarios. We'll do the code check-in to Bitbucket, okay. And then what are the deployment models we try to see as part of our project? We'll try to see Cloud Hub, on-premises, and a hybrid. Okay, these are the three ones. Mostly we'll follow the Cloud Hub one. Okay, we'll follow the Cloud Hub for all the deployments, but I'll show you the differences for three deployment models exactly. And development and production environment setup, deploy applications to Cloud Hub using CI/CD pipeline. We'll use Jenkins as the CI/CD pipeline, right? And development to production environment promotion. Okay, we'll try to do all these things exactly. And now we'll try to apply different policies also. Okay, we'll try to use JWT, okay, HTTP caching, rate limiting, spike control, okay, basic authentication, all these policies, basic authentication, client ID enforcement, all policies, at least in terms of the interview point of view, right? Exactly, they will be using, and what policies should be used for what kind of APIs, like maybe from system API we'll use some, for experience API we'll try to use different API, different policies, all those. And how to explain your project in the interview, okay, that also will be taken. And roles and responsibilities of a developer, okay, mules of developer, I mean to say mules of developer. These are the topics covered in the section. Yeah, any queries on the topics covered? Okay, then see, connectors, what are the connectors covered as part of the project exactly? Okay, we'll be using HTTP, database, maybe JMS, Salesforce, and object store. These are the connectors we are going to use. Okay, apart from this, maybe if there is any possibility of including something else, we'll try to use that also. For example, like now we don't have the provision to use a file, right? Maybe here at this point of time, that will try to see it as an independent topic. For example, like I common integration requirements, if you observe, there are all these, right? For example, like if there is something which is not covered as part of the project, that we'll try to discuss in as an independent topic. At that point of time, you will know, like, okay, this particular component or connector, how to configure it and how to use that exactly. Okay, I'll tell you the use case, and then we'll use that particular component or connector, because every project cannot accommodate everything exactly. That is the reason. Okay, HTTP, database, JMS, Salesforce, will object store will be the connectors. And components covered. Okay, we'll have obviously the choice routers, data gather, scheduler will be there, parallel for each, batch processing will be covered. Okay, and what is caching and how to handle the errors in a different situations exactly. Okay, all those will be covered. Okay, fine. These are the policies covered: basic authentication, client ID enforcement, JWT validation policy. Okay, JWT validation policy. It belongs to OAuth 2.0 exactly. Why we are covering these many number of policies is, see, it is very important to know while attending the interviews exactly. Like they will ask for sure, like what are the policies you have worked on. Then if you say only basic authentication, it doesn't give a good look. Okay, for that reason, obviously we need to understand the different policies. What we'll discuss in detail, almost like it will be for 2.5 to 3 hours of content exactly, and then we'll apply the JWT validation policy also. We'll see that, and rest other policies will not take much time. Only for how to configure the policies, it may take some time, but rest of the things will take less time when compared to the JWT validation policy. Okay, fine. And one more thing I just wanted to know, we will be handling two-way SSL. Okay, two-way SSL, how to implement two-way SSL and one-way SSL exactly. Okay, MTLS and normal TLS. Okay, one-way TLS and MTLS, mutual TLS and all, because all our APIs will be protected by HTTPS as well as the policies also. Okay, that part also will be covered, how to develop a HTTPS API, and then how to consume a HTTPS API, and how to implement one-way and two-way SSL exactly. That also will be covered as part of the project. Yeah, coming to the my introduction exactly. Okay, already you might be aware, you might be seeing my name, right? I am Mahesh Reddy. I hold almost like 7+ years of experience in the IT industry. Okay, and coming to my work, I'm currently working as a technical lead with one of the MNCs. Okay, I worked in different domain projects like banking, finance, insurance, and retail domains. Okay, I have executed more than 6 to 7 different projects in MuleSoft. Okay, I have already trained more than 500+ students, and I got a very good opportunity of interviewing more than 150 plus candidates till now, because of this particular point exactly. I can tell you I'm more eligible to train you exactly, because see, last 2 weeks I have conducted more than around 20 interviews. Okay, for we need a very senior guy, almost like some 8 to 10 years experience guy, okay, who is more experienced than me. And when I'm conducting the interviews, I know what I'm asking and what my colleagues are asking and all actually. Then we will try to keep those things in mind. Okay, and then we'll make the curriculum. Okay, see, I know what is the expectation from the interviewer point of view, and I also know how the interview should answer that. Because of that reason, obviously, I have seen both the, because I changed the organization very recently, around 7 to 8 months back. I have attended almost like 10 to 15 interviews. Okay, after and I got multiple offers also. Now I acted as an interviewee multiple times. Okay, and I'm an interviewer for most of the organizations which I worked. Because of that reason, obviously, I know what is expected from the interviewer point of view, how to answer the questions in terms of the interviewee. That is the reason I can inculcate all the topics or imbibe the topics in the curriculum properly. Okay, for that reason, obviously, it is one of the best experiences I had, and that experience is helping me a lot to be successful as a trainer exactly. Okay, and I have cleared almost like MCD level 1, MCD level 2, and MCA certifications, and I am a Workato certified professional. Workato is another integration tool already. That is also, I have completed almost like 3 certifications in that particular aspect. Okay, this is my brief introduction, and I hope I'll be a very good trainer for sure. Okay, I promise that from my side, whatever is required as part of your total mm, maybe getting the job without any proper hiccups exactly. Okay, without hiccups, I will be able to I'll be able to deliver the content which is required for you to be part of the MuleSoft ecosystem exactly, for sure. Okay, this is about me. And then, see, this is the training approach. Simple, exactly. Like, I don't want to take much time here. We'll use this. Already you might have seen, right? A presentation and whiteboard used for live experience. We are writing and seeing that, and that live experience will be there for everything. And my approach is like, I'll try to take a use case, and then I'll try to explain that particular any scenario. First, I'll take a use case, I'll discuss that, and then I'll go to the details of that particular topic exactly, demonstration of that particular project. That is one thing which I wanted to mention it here. And I always suggest to go for a LPP model. What is that? Learn, practice, practice. Okay, learn here, learn from the right trainer is the first step exactly. Okay, learn from the right trainer. That I will do. That part I'll take care of. Okay, but if you divide this particular LPP into three categories exactly, it is 33.33% will come into my picture. Okay, the rest is your efforts only, practice and practice. This first practice is for getting the things understood in a proper manner. The second practice is for giving you the confidence to express that the topic the topic which you learned exactly. Okay, only learning will not help you, you need to practice it. Software is like maths, I always believe in that. And one more thing, like maths, if you see, you feel like understood, but when you go for the exam, obviously you'll not be able to write the steps properly. For that reason, I always compare software as well as maths are similar. If you see, you won't get it. Okay, you feel like I already got it, but still it's not so easy to get it. Practice is the key. You need to practice that whatever you have learned in the session, practice it, and then second time also practice it. You'll get a good hold out of it exactly. Okay, we'll deliver the sessions online and recordings will be provided, and duration of the program will be more than 35 hours for sure, exactly 35 to 45 hours. And one more thing, we will take you interview, question and answers, discussion. This will take you around 8 to 10 hours. What is that exactly? We'll tell you how a ideal muse of resume should look like. Okay, what are the tips and techniques you need to follow to get more number of calls, as the market is little slower when compared to the previous times exactly. Okay, and then we'll start with the actual interview questions, what I am asking in the interviews exactly. Okay, and when I attended the interviews, I have listed all those questions also. Okay, and then we are going to discuss that also. This 35 to 45 hours will not include this particular interview question and answers discussion exactly. Okay, that will take a separate time, like maybe around 8 to 10 hours. Okay, I'll just show you what all the documentation will be the part of this particular project training and all exactly. I'll walk you through that exactly, and then we'll go for question and answers. For example, if you see today you have seen the PPT, right? For each and every day we have a PPT. Okay, for example, like this is the demo one, and then if you see the day one PPT, you will have all the topics like, okay, this way you will be having a PPT for each day, and then we'll go through each and every day's discussion exactly. Okay, and then I just wanted to show you, these are the discussion PPTs exactly, whatever we discussed, right? Those content. Okay, now next I'll show you the documents. See, these are the, I told you, we'll be seeing the documentation, right? As soon as the business team is ready, business discussion is over, they will make a document ready, right? This way it will be there. Okay, what is the request structure, what is the response structure, what is the error structure, what are the fields, how to map, all these will be ready as part of our training exactly. Okay, and one more thing, and see here, what are the softwares and platforms required. We'll try to uh, uh, download everything, and we'll configure, we'll set up everything, and then we'll try to check everything. Okay, that also will be part of our project training. See this one, what are the APIs we are going to develop. See here we have some APIs. What I'll try to do, I'll try to do some APIs, and then rest of the things I will try to give it as an assignment for you. Okay, you need to do that exactly. Okay, in the same order or the same structure what I have explained, right? The same thing you have to implement it. Okay, we'll see in discussion like how many experience APIs are there, what are the process APIs, how to do and all exactly, like the entire API life cycle journey will be covered exactly. Okay, now apart from this, the one more beautiful thing is, okay, even the ramls and all, how we do, right? That ramls and the project jars are all will be provided to you exactly. Okay, that is one thing. And coming to the interview point of question and answers, right? Okay, interview preparation. See here, how your first of all we'll see about resume, right? Just give me a moment. Yeah, see here how a MuleSoft resume should look like. Okay, look like means what are the points to be covered, or how a project should be displayed, what are the components of this resume and all. We'll discuss everything. Okay, we'll discuss how you have to present yourself in the resume exactly. Like ideally, if you go through this particular section, you can uh, make a very beautiful resume for sure. And then even I have shown you the cover letter also, how to use the cover letter. A sample cover letter I have developed exactly, and I'll show you that. Okay, that is one thing. And then interview questions every day, like for example, like each and every topic we have divided, and then there are question and answers. See, if you have one topic, there are hundreds of things or tens of things to answer exactly. But what is the expectation in the interview? The same thing we have clearly mentioned. For example, they ask you, tell me about yourself, how to answer that particular question. It's very clearly written here. Explain about your project, how to explain that, and explain me about your roles and responsibilities. If you understand and if you mug up these kind of answers, that's more than enough exactly. Okay, I have clearly written step by step. Okay, see, for example, like if they ask you to explain about some topic, there'll be so many points which you will not be able to cover and which you will not be able to remember. But I have clearly mentioned what is required as part of the interview. And for example, I'll go to Ramel interview questions. See here, we have almost like 19 questions here. Okay, for each and every question we have an answer clearly written. This way, we'll be providing you a PDF for all the interview question and answers section by section. It's not like all are mixed up, section by section, and we'll discuss all the questions in a proper manner, and then you'll be able to get ready for that exactly. Okay, get ready for the interview, because see, learning is one part and cracking the interview is another part, as part of my understanding. Okay, there are so many people who knows the subject, but they'll not be able to express it in a proper and detailed manner. Okay, for that reason I can just verbally tell answers for the interview questions, but we have made a documentation, okay, for each and every question, and then we have added the answer also, which will help you to crack the interview very faster and very easier when compared to the other people exactly. Okay, now we can go for question and answers. If any questions, then we'll go for it. Any questions on the content, or now you're free to ask any kind of questions now.
Hi,
And one
Mukesh.
more thing. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
So we have four experience APIs, two process and two system APIs, right? Total overall eight. So
Okay.
everyone will be able to develop the application for all the four APIs, or how it will be?
Come again. Actually, see, there are different experiences, different processes.
We have
Okay.
four experience APIs, two process APIs, and two system APIs. Overall, four APIs total,
Okay.
right? So eight, sorry. So everyone will
Not,
get the
not only eight,
opportunity to
actually,
develop
we have
all the eight.
scheduler-based integrations also we have.
Okay, so all the integrations and APIs will be given chance to everyone to do it, or how it will be?
See, some 60 to 70% of the implementations I will do. For
Okay,
example, like there are 10 APIs, I will develop 5 to 6 APIs, and then rest 3 to 4, I'll explain how to do that. Actually, you people have to implement it. as part of the assignment.
Okay.
Because see, if I take and explain each and everything, obviously you will not get hands-on, right?
Hmm.
Okay, that is the reason I will show you the entire life cycle from, for example, like I start from API design, okay, and then till M-units, deploying it to the environments through the pipeline and all, exactly. Now the complete life cycle is covered. I will develop the same way some different APIs, and then I will assign some part to you for the further discussion, for further implementation.
Can we replicate the developed the portion of you developed the application, no? So that portion
Yes,
can we
I'll do
replicate
that also.
ourselves
I'll do
and
that.
write?
See, yeah. What I'll try to do, I will try to develop one API from scratch. Okay.
Hmm.
The second time, I will try to replicate the same API and make the necessary changes. I'll use the same project structure. Okay. And then I'll replicate that.
Okay.
Sometimes you may get enhancement work also, right?
True.
Already API is available and you need to enhance that API. That in that instance, what you should do, you should know how to use the existing API and enhance it exactly. For that reason, I will show you both the approaches.
Great.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, the sessions will be conducted. Just give me a moment. Yeah, the sessions will be conducted on weekends. Okay, Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 1 p.m. and 10 to 1 p.m. 3 hours. We'll take 10 to 15 minutes break in between, and then we'll try to cover the maximum content. And in the weekdays, you can try to practice whatever we have discussed on the Saturdays and Sundays. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi Mahesh.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you covering log monitoring kind of thing, log4 settings, log4 J4 settings in the new API to monitor from third-party tools like Splunk and ELK kind of thing? So we cannot maintain 100 MB for a cloud hub logs kind of thing, right? So are you covering the topic as well?
Normally, it is not part of the this particular thing exactly. Okay. If we
Mm.
want, if time permits, right, I'll try to do that. Okay. I'll make a note of it. Okay.
Yeah. Because
I'll
every
try.
organization has their own monitoring kind of thing, right?
No,
So
see, obviously that will be taken care by the enterprise architect team. You will not be part of that, honestly speaking.
correct. But in our mail API kind of thing where we have to monitor,
See, already
where
you
we
have a
need to
template, right? See, already you have a template which the changes you require exactly
okay.
that will be taken care already in the template itself. No need to configure anything from your side. But still, we'll try to see maybe it will take 15 minutes to 30 minutes to do that exactly. Okay, what are the changes required? Okay, as part of your API. Okay, that will somewhere I'll try to discuss that. Yeah, I'll
Sure.
make a note of that.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? See, whatever the project we discussed, right? Exactly how to express that as part of your interview. That also is discussed very clearly here. And what are the roles and responsibility of a developer? All these will be discussed in detail as part of the interview question and answer sessions. Exactly. Okay. Then if there are no questions, then we'll try to wind it up and we'll meet 10 to 1 tomorrow. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks for attending the session today.
Thanks, Mahesh.
Yeah, thank you.